first off, hello, good evening. Hello. Second off, I moved my camera, so now you're this way, facing this way, like I had said I wanted, rather than up top looking down. But hello, Kari. Hi, Mackie. Hello. Papa, there's the camera right there. Oh. I did just pet her. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. Hello. Hello, Colin. What you got in your fur? What you got? Let me get that. Oh, I can't. Oh well, we'll get it later. You got so much in your fur, you goofy. Oh, I love Celeste. That's a great emote. She's so close to the camera. Oh my word, that's so funny to me. Oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. That was so loud. Boop. Boop. One more. Boop. Oh my gosh, she's so tired. Just lay down, go sleepies. Go sleepies if you're tired. Go sleepies. Yeah, there you go. Oh, okay. Hello. Okay, we're gonna... Oh. Oh no, I'm sorry. I hit my mic. It is the birthday girl. Yes, there she is. Thank you for the work, my wife. But let's get doing it. Okay, you're good. I think we're good. Kari's better than me. Crazy. And the worst part is, you can't see that Timmy is... Thank you. Can't see that Timmy's back there. Oh. Okay. Goodbye, Paul. Thanks for popping in. Toodaloo. Paul says happy birthday. Tom says happy birthday. Everyone says happy birthday to the birthday girl. Cutie patootie. Okay. Oh. She's got like 5 toys behind her on the floor. She didn't take any of them to her bed though. Silly. But are we ready? I fear I'm making extra noise today because I have my jacket on. But hopefully that's okay. Hello, Mr. Manager. Hello. We're gonna get back into the story. Yes, story time. I read like the first 5 words, and it reminded me of what happened last in the story. And it's crazy still to me, the fact that a whole, like, 10 years, yeah, I did spoil myself, but but that a whole 10 years has passed between Elfland and that one tiny, I don't even know, 2-hour window. So it's crazy, it's been 10 years. I'm excited to see what happens. So, also, I was completely wrong on my chapters yesterday. I had said it was chapter 7 when it was chapter 12 and this and that, so don't trust me to read Roman numerals. That's not my forte. Anyways, this is chapter 16, XVI. That is 16 if I am correct. Orion hunts the stag. Yeah, the 10-year gap. There passed 10 years over the fields we know, and Orion grew and learned the art of oath, and had the cunning of thrall, and knew the woods and the slopes, and the vales of the downs, as many another boy knows how to multiply figures by other figures, or to draw the thoughts from a language not his own, and to set them down again in words of his own tongue. And little he knew of the things that ink may do, how it can mark a dead man's thought for the wonder of later years, and tell the pounding of heavy ages, or carry to us, over the rolling centuries, even a song from lips long dead on forgotten hills. Little he knew of ink, but the touch of a roe deer's feet on dry ground. Gone 3 hours. Oh, it doesn't scan car, it only scans me. Darn. Yeah, it's a YouTube studio, so quack. Gone 3 hours was a clear path to him, and nothing went through the woods, but Orion read its story, and all the sounds of the wood were as full of clear meaning to him as are to the mathematician the signs and figures he makes when he divides his millions by tens and 11s and 12s. He knew by sun and moon and wind what birds would enter the wood. He knew of the coming seasons, whether they would be mild or severe, only a little later than the beasts of the wood themselves, which have not human reason or soul, and that know so much more than we. Hi Joy, hello, good evening. Benzo, can you shout out Joy for me please? Or Ton, welcome back my mod. You wanna do some mod things? You could shout. Oh, Benzo got it. Benzo beat ya. Hello Joy. Welcome. Yes, Benzo's very fast. Thank you for the headpats. Thank you so much. And so he grew to know the very mood of the woods. Oh, actually, Joy, did you make it to your destination safely last night? On your plane ride? Did you make it? Were you all good? To Disneyland? That's where you said you were going. Did you make it to Disneyland? I hope you had fun. And you rode the big, not carousel, the big Ferris wheel. And so he grew to know the very mood of the woods, and could enter their shadowy shelter like one of the woodland beasts. And this he could do when he was barely 14 years, and many a man lives all his years, and can never enter a wood without changing the whole mood of its shadowy ways. Oh, IDK. IDK. Thank you. Joy, you crashed. No. Wait, don't add you to the list. Okay, I won't if you don't want it. But oh no, Joy. I'm glad you still made it to Disney though. And look, it's your new emote. Your let's fucking go emote. Woohoo! I'm glad you still made it to Disney and got to go ride all the rides. Okay. For men enter a wood, perhaps with the wind behind them. They brush against branches, step on twigs, speak, smoke, or tread heavily, and jays cry out against them. Pigeons leave the trees, rabbits pad off to safety, and far more beasts than they know slip on soft feet away from their coming. But Orion moved like Thrall, in shoes of deerskin with the tread of a hunter, and none of the beasts of the wood knew when he was come. It was a scuff stream. Those are fun ones, though. Those are really fun streams. It's okay, it's perfect. And my night is good, thank you so much for asking. Uh-oh, it looks like some people are dying, though. And having to walk the plank. Oof. Oh, but also favorite. There's a lot going on. And he came to have a pile of skins like Oth that he won with his bow in the wood, and he hung great horns of stags in the hall of the castle. Interior decorator, Orion, okay. High up among old horns, where the spider had lived for ages, and this was one of the signs whereby the people of Earl came to know him now for their lord, for no news came of Alveric. Wait. Is this book telling me that Alveric and his group of 5 other dudes, they have been gone for 10 years? Wait, I didn't think they were like actually doing shit. I thought they were gonna go out maybe a month, right? Maybe a month. But they've been out for 10 years? Looking for Elfland? That's insane. Dude, you left your child. Your 4-year-old child. That is horrible. Absolutely horrible. What the fuck? Yeah, 10 years for someone. It does have his wife in that land. His wife is an elf, so she's there. Hey man, thank you for the bits. Thank you. Hello, good evening. But, oh, God, still, no, that's crazy. Oof, okay. Not a scam. Okay, and all the old lords of Earl. Oh, Lord. Help, that is not a pretty scan. Oh, that's terrible. Had been hunters of deer, and another sign was the departing of the witch. No, she left him too. Of the witch Zeronderel when she went back to her hill. No. Wait for it. 7TV is really cool. They're so fun. Yeah, honestly, I could do that. That's true. I should make a gallery. Okay, bye, Waveforn. But Zeronderel left him too. This poor kid, he really is alone. His mom got taken from him. His father voluntarily left him. And now his nurse/caretaker, she also left him. This poor kid. What the fuck? And Orion lived in the castle now by himself, and she dwelt in her cottage again, where her cabbages grew on the high land near the thunder. And all that winter Orion hunted the stags in the wood, but when spring came, he put his bow away. Yet, wow, 25. 25 is so many. Thank you, Advantage. That is very, very, very nice, and your message is super sweet as well. 25 is a crazy amount. That's awesome. Okay. Yet, all through the season of song and flowers, his thoughts were still with the chase, and he went from house to house, wherever a man had one of the long, thin dogs that hunt. And sometimes he brought the dog, and sometimes the man would promise to lend it on days of hunting. Thus, Orion formed a pack of brown, long-haired hounds, and yearned for the spring and summer to go by. And one spring evening, when Orion was tending his hounds, when villagers were mostly at their doors to notice the length of the evening, there came a man up the street whom nobody knew. He came from the uplands, wrapped in the most aged of clothes, which clung to him as though they had clung forever, and were somehow a part of him, and yet part of the earth, for they were mellowed by the clay of the high fields to its own deep brown. And folk noticed the easy stride of a mighty walker, and a weariness in his eyes, and none knew who he was. And then a woman said, "It is Vand that was only a lad." And they all crowded around him then, for it was indeed Vand, who had left the sheep more than 10 years ago. Oh my god, wait, more than 10 years ago to ride with Alveric. No one in Earl knew with her. Wait, they're finally back. So, currently I'm using a HyperX Quadcast. X specifically. Yes, yes, Benzo, exactly. It is to the right of me due to my mic arm. I don't want it in front of my face so I can see the screens. So if you're going to say something about volume, it would be that reason. I keep trying to like turn to the right a little bit so my voice goes that way, but I'm sure it's not perfect. Oh, that was my knuckle. I apologize. I don't need to be cracking my knuckles. It's just a habit. Anyways, though, what the frick? Wait, so the people are finally coming back now? After 10 years, they're coming back? Ah! Oh, okay. Thanks, chillin'. Thank you. I love that, Maury. I love that one. "How fares our master?" they said, and a look of weariness came in the eyes of Vand. "He follows the quest," he said. "Whither?" they asked. "To the north," he said. "He seeks for Elfland still." "Why have you left him?" they asked. "I lost the hope," he said. Okay, so does that mean he lost hope, 5 years in, and he still had to travel 5 years back home? Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, but I could do, last night, actually, Crystalline, bought me a Blue Yeti. So, when that comes in the mail, I'll switch over to that microphone, and we'll see how it goes. I'm very excited. Yes, very nice, yes. They questioned him no more then, for all men knew that to seek for Elfland, one needed a strong hope, and without it, one saw no gleam of the Elfland mountains, serene with unchanging blue. And then the mother of Niv came running up. "Dang, she's still alive? Is it indeed Vand?" she said. And they all said, "Yes, it is Vand." And while they murmured together about Vand, and how years and wandering had changed him, she said to him, "Tell me of my son." And Vand replied, "He leads the quest. There is none whom my master trusts more." Hello, beasts. Good evening. Welcome in. And they all wondered, and yet they had no cause for wonder, for it was a mad quest. But Niv's mother alone did not wonder. "I knew he would," she said. "I knew he would." And she was filled with a great content. Now, there is more to read, but is kind of bothering me the tiniest bit. Oh, Chillin! Chillin! Thank you so much! Wow, thank you so much! That's very, 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 very nice of you, Chillin. I wanted to try and move this camera a little bit so you could see Kari better. That was my goal when you went and gifted your subs. Crazy. Thank you so much. Hold on. Gotta make sure it's nice and tight so it doesn't fall. And yes, there we go. How's that? Okay, yes, perfect. You can see Kari better. Yay. Okay. Ah, you know what? I literally said to myself earlier, I was like, there's someone that I need to respond to, but I can't remember who. It was you, Chillin. I'm so sorry. I will get back to your message after stream. I'm so sorry. I had work and then it just completely slipped my mind. I apologize. Because I know there is something in your message that I completely ignored that I have to go back and comment on. I apologize. Anyways, have a wonderful, wonderful night. Thank you very, very, very much again. Also, Agadoo, thank you for being here. I hope you have a good night. Goodbye, good night. Okay, hold on, let me put Chillin's name up here at least. Ka-chow. Ka-chow, ka-chow, ka-chow. Oh, that's so tall upwards. It needs to go like that. Yeah. Perfecto. Yay. There are events and seasons to suit the mood of every man, though few indeed could have suited the crazed mood of Niv. Yet there came Alveric's quest to Elfland, and so Niv found his work. In talking in the late evening with Vand, the folk of Earl heard many tales of many camps, many marches, a tale of profitless wandering, where Alveric haunted horizons year after year like a ghost. And sometimes, out of Van's sadness that had come from those profitless years, a smile would shine as he told of some foolish happening that had taken place in the camp. But all was told by one that had lost hope in the quest. This was not the way to tell of it, not with doubts, not with smiles. For such a quest may only be told of by those who are fired by its glory, from the mad brain of Niv, or the moonstruck wits of Zend. We might have news of that quest, which could light our minds with some gleam of its meaning, but never from the story, be it made out of facts or scoffs, told by one whom the quest itself was able to lure no longer. The stars stole out, and still Vand was telling his stories, and one by one the people went back to their houses, caring to hear no more of the hopeless quest. Had the tale been told by one who clung yet to the faith that still was leading Alveric's wanderers on, the stars would have weakened before those folks left the teller. The sky would have brightened so widely before they left him that one would have said at last, "Why, it's morning." Not till then would they have gone. And the next day, Vand went back. Thank you for the headpads, Mom. Thank you. Vand went back to the downs and the sheep and troubled himself with romantic quests no more. And during that spring, men spoke of Alveric again, wondering a while at his quest, speaking a while of Lyrazel, and guessing where she had gone, and guessing why, and where they could have not guessed, telling some tale to explain all, which went from mouth to mouth till they came to believe it. And spring went by, and they forgot Alveric and obeyed the will of Orion. And then one day, as Orion was waiting for the summer to go by, with his heart on frosty days, and his dreams with his hounds on the uplands, Rannoch the lover. Another one. Another person. Rannoch the lover came over the downs by the path by which Van has come, and walked down into Earl. Rannoch, with his heart free at last, with all his melancholy gone. Rannoch, whose woe, careless, care-free, content, looking only for rest after his long wandering, sighing no more. And nothing but this would have made Viria care to have him, the girl he had sought once. So, the end of this was that she married him, and he too went roaming no more on fantastic quests. This girl, she waited 10 years for him? Oh my god, that's crazy. She waited 10 years for him and then they got married. Wow. I wonder if that's just kind of how it was back in the day. You would not see that now. And though some looked to the uplands through many an evening, till the long days wore away and a strange wind touched the leaves, and some peered over the further curves of the downs, yet they saw none more of the followers of Alvaric's quests, coming back by the path that Van and Rannoch had trod, and by the time that the leaves were a wonder of scarlet and gold, men spoke no more of Alvaric, but obeyed Orion, his son. And in this season, Orion arose one day before dawn, and took his horn and his bow, and went to his hounds, who wondered to hear his step before light was come. They heard it all in their sleep, and awoke and clamored to him. And he loosed them and calmed them, and led them away to the downs, and to the lonely magnificence of the downs they came, when the stags are feeding on dewy grasses before men are awake. All in the wild wet morning they ran over the gleaming slopes, Orion and his hounds, all rejoicing together. And the scent of the thyme gave heavy with the hair that Orion breathed, as he trod its wide patches, blooming late in the year. To the hounds there came all the wandering scents of the morning, and what wild creatures had met on the hill in the dark, and what had crossed it going upon their journeys, and whither all had gone when the day grew bright, bringing the threat of man. Orion guessed and wondered, but to the hounds it was clear, and some of the scents they noted with careful noses, and some they scorned, and for one they sought in vain, for the great red deer were not on the downs that morning. And Orion led them far from the Vale of Earl, but saw no stag that day, and never a wind brought the scent that the anxious hounds were seeking, nor could they find it hidden in any grass or leaves. An evening came on him, bringing his hounds home, calling on stragglers with his horn, while the sun turned huge and scarlet, and fainter than echoes of his horn, and far beyond downs and mist, but clear each silver note, he heard the elfin horns that called to him always at evening. Hello, Stiza. Good evening. How are you tonight? With the great comradeship of a common weariness, he and his hounds came home dark in the starlight. The windows of Earl at last flashed to them the glow of their welcome. Hounds came to their kennels and ate, and lay down to contented sleep. Orion went to his castle. He too ate, and afterwards sat thinking of the downs, and his hounds, and the day, his mind lulled by fatigue to that point at which it rests beyond care. and many a day passed thus. And then, one dewy morning, coming over a ridge of the downs, they saw a stag below them, feeding late when all the rest were gone. The hounds all broke into one joyous cry. The heavy stag moved nimbly over the grass. Orion shot an arrow and missed. All these things happened in a moment. And then the hounds streamed away, and the wind went over the backs of them with a ripple. And the stag climbed 3 stream. Thank you. Let's go. It was so nice of you. And Steezo. Oh no! Girlfriend problems. Oh, thank you for the headbands, Klein. Steezo, I hope that, tomorrow's a good fresh day and that you get to adequately talk through whatever was troubling you both today, and that you get to come to a nice ambient conclusion that satisfies the both of you and helps the relationship just grow stronger. I am sorry to hear that today itself is kind of because of that though, but I hope that tomorrow will be a better one. And then the hounds streamed away, and the wind went over the backs of them with a ripple, and the stag went away as though every one of his feet were on little dancing springs. And at first the hounds were swifter than Orion, but he was as tireless as they, and by taking sometimes shorter ways than theirs, he stayed near them till they came to a stream and faltered, and began to need the help of human reason. And such help as human reason can give in such a matter, Orion gave them, and soon they were on again. What does that mean? What does that mean? What? Yeah. Hey, Steezo, that's pretty good though. She still wanted to call with you. I count that as a win. Clearly it's not that bad. That's the good news. Oh, wait, what do you mean you're never right in the end? I don't think that that's necessarily too healthy of a relationship. I think both people coming into it are their own persons. Everyone has their own beliefs and opinions, and I think there's give and take to everything. So I think you should be able to be right in some instances, because someone can't always be right themselves. I think it's a give and take sort of thing. So, either way, I'm sorry to hear. And again, I hope that tomorrow is better, that you get to talk it out and resolve some issues. For now, I appreciate you being here and helping you maybe calm down a little bit for the night. Okay, and the morning passed as they went from hill to hill, and they had not seen the stag a second time, and the afternoon wore away, and still the hounds followed every step of the stag with a skill as strange as magic. Okay, and towards evening, wait, was it not just morning time? They have been chasing this stag all day. And towards evening, Orion saw him going slowly along the slope of a hill. If he's about to walk into Elfland because of the stag, I'm gonna freak out. Over coarse grass that was shining in the rays of the low sun. What if it's his grandfather? What if it's whatever her name is, I never remember. What if it's the elf princess's dad and he wants to meet the sun finally and he's luring him? I don't know. My mind's going crazy. Over coarse grass that was shining in the rays of the low sun, he cheered on his hounds, and they ran him over 3 more small valleys, but down at the bottom of the third, he turned round amongst the pebbles of a stream and waited there for the hounds. Yeah, I agree. Hi, Enderman. Hello. Okay, I'm glad it's relaxing. That's good. Help you calm down a little bit. And they came baying round him, watching his brow antlers, and there they tore him down and killed him at sunset. What? Oh no. Oh, Guac. Wait, so the stag just sat there and let it happen? He let the dogs attack him and kill him? And Orion wound his horn. Yeah, wound? Maybe it's wound. And Orion wound his horn with a great joy in his heart. He wanted no more than this, and with a note like that of joy, as though they also rejoiced, or mocking his rejoicing, over hills that he knew not, perhaps from the far side of the sunset, the horns of Elfland answered. The end of that chapter. Huh? Okay, hold on. Let me hydrate. What? Okay, so the stag took him on a day-long chase through the fields and the woods, and then at the end he just sat there and let himself get killed. And then Orion blew into his horn to rejoice, and he heard Elfland answer, which makes me feel like it was like a setup. No? Was it not a setup? Also, hi Onio. Hello. Seymour. Hey, what do you mean? What do you mean? Where'd you get Seymour at? Joy calls me Seymour. She read my name wrong when I first rated into her, and then it's just stuck. It's very funny. I am Seymour for her. But where'd you get that from? What'd you say it's Seymour about? Okay. Did we not just have chapter 17? Wait, we just had chapter 17, no? No, we had chapter 16. Chapter 17! The unicorn comes in the starlight. And winter came. Oh, did I page turn? And winter came and whitened the roofs of Earl, and all the forest and uplands. And when Orion took his hounds afield in the morning, the world lay like a book that was newly written by life, for all the story of the night before lay in long lines in the snow. Here the fox had gone, and there the badger, and here the red deer had gone out of the woods. The tracks led over the downs and disappeared from sight, as the deeds of statesmen, soldiers, courtiers, and politicians appear and disappear on the pages of history. Even the birds have their record on those white downs, where the eye could follow each step of their treble claws, till suddenly, on each... Do you hear Kari snoring? She's a tired girl. You hear her? Oh, that's funny. Till suddenly, on each side of the track would appear 3 little scars, where the tips of their longest feathers had flicked the snow, and there the track faded utterly. They were like some popular cry, some vehement fancy, that comes down on a page of history for a day and passes, leaving no other record at all except those lines on one page. That's right, good for my doggy. Get some sleep soon. I wonder if I can move my camera just a little more. Yeah, there you go. And amongst all these records left of the story of night, Orion would choose the track of some great stag not too long gone, and would follow it with his hounds away over the downs until even the sound of his horn could be heard no longer in Earl. And over a ridge with his hounds, he and they, all black against red remnants of sunset, the folk of Earl would see him coming home, and often it was not until all the stars were glowing through the frost. Often the skin of a red deer hung over his shoulders, and the huge horns bobbed and nodded above his head. And at this time there met one day in the forge of Gnarl, all unknown to Orion, the men of the Parliament of Earl. They met after sunset, when all were home from their work, and gravely Gnarl handed to each the mead that was brewed from the clover honey. And when all were come, they sat silent, and then Gnarl broke the silence, saying that Alveric ruled over Earl no more, and his son was Lord of Earl, and telling again how once they had hoped for a magic lord to rule over the valley and to make it famous, and saying that this should be he. And where now, he said, is the magic for which we hoped? For he hunts the deer as all his forefathers hunted, and nothing of magic has touched him from over there, and there is no new thing. And Oth stood up to defend him. He is as fleet as his hounds, he said, and hunts from dawn to sunset, and crosses the furthest downs, and come homes untired. It is but youth, said Guick, and so said all but Thrall. And Thrall stood up and said, he has a knowledge of the ways of the wood, and the lore of the beasts, beyond the learning of man. You taught him, said Guick. There's no magic here. Nothing of this, said Gnarl, is from over there. Thus they argued while lamenting the loss of the magic for which they had hoped, for never a valley but history touches it once. Oh no, she's twitching. Uh-oh, she's a twitching. Uh-oh, oh no, disguise. Disguise. I think Corey's having a little bit of, maybe not a nightmare, but some sort of very in-depth dream. I think she's okay though. Okay. Never a village, but once its name is a while on the lips of men. Only the village of Earl was utterly unrecorded. Never a century knew it beyond the round of its downs. And now all their plans seemed lost, which they made so long ago, and they saw no hope except in the mead that was brewed from the clover honey. To this they turned in silence. Now, oh my word, help. Now it was a goodly brew, and in a while new plans flashed clear in their minds, new schemes, new devices, and debates in the Parliament of Earl flowed proudly on, and they would have made a plan and a policy, but Oth arose from his seat. There was in a flint-built house in the village of Earl an ancient chronicle, a volume bound in leather, and in it, at certain seasons, folk wrote all manner of things. The wisdom of farmers concerning the time to sow, the wisdom of hunters concerning the tracking of stags, and the wisdom of prophets that told of the way of earth. From this Oth quoted now 2 lines that he remembered on one of the aged pages, and all the rest of that page told of hoeing. These lines he said to the Parliament of Earl as they sat with the mead before them at their table. Hooded and veiled with their night-like tresses, the fates shall bring what no prophet guesses. And they planned no more, for either their minds were calmed by a certain awe that they seemed to find in the lines, or it may be the mead was stronger than anything written in books. However, it be they sat silent over their mead, and in early starlight, while the west still glowed, they passed away from Gnarl's house, back to their own homes, grumbling as they went that they had no magic lord to rule over Earl, and yearning for magic to save from oblivion the village and valley they loved. They parted, one by one, as they came to their houses, and 3 or 4 that dwelt near the end of the village, on the side that was under the downs, were not yet come to their doors, when, white and clear in the starlight, and what remained of the gloaming, they saw hard-pressed and wearied a hunted unicorn coming across the downs. They stopped and gazed and shaded their eyes and stroked their beards and wondered, and still it was a white unicorn galloping wearily. And then they heard, drawing near, the cry of Orion's hounds. Oh my god, he's gonna hunt this poor unicorn. Help. Oh, hi Booba. I hope the unicorn is okay. I hope it gets to live or something. I don't know. You know, or something. Chapter 18. The Grey Tent in the Evening. Yeah, I know. I'm kind of like, I can't partially close an eye and keep the other one open. My model doesn't register that. On the day that the hunted unicorn crossed the Valley of Earl, Alveric had wandered for over 11 years. For more than 10 years. A company of 6. Okay, so no. So the other 2 guys, Vlad and Ranuk, they were there for 10 years and then they left. So I guess they were only... Hi Archer. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening, welcome in. But I guess that they were only about a year's distance between... Swinky, thank you so much for the headbats. Between where they were in the village. They've just been traveling kind of like left and right, all up north, I guess. That makes sense. Hello, Governor. Fancy weather we're having. They went by the backs of the houses, by the edge of the fields we know, and camped at evenings with their queer material hung greyly on poles, and whether or not the strange romance of their quest mirrored itself in all the things about them, those camps of theirs seemed always... Hi 3-inch Grinch, thank you so much for the follow. And hi Sealed, yes, reading ASMR, hello, good evening. Mirrored itself in all the things around them, those camps of theirs seemed always the strangest thing in the landscape, and as evening grew grayer around them, their romance and mystery grew. And, for all the vehemence of Alveric's ambition, they traveled leisurely and lazily. Sometimes, in a pleasant camp, they stayed for 3 days. Then they went strolling on. 9 or 10 miles they would march, and then they would camp again. Some day, Alveric felt sure in his heart they would see that border of twilight. Some day they would enter Elfland, and in Elfland he knew that time was not as here. He would meet Lee Rizal unaged in Elfland, with never one smile lost to the raging years, never a furrow worn by the ruin of time. This was his hope, and it led his queer company on from camp to camp, and cheered them round the fire in the lonely evenings, and brought them far to the north, traveling all along the edge of the fields we know, where all men's faces turned the other way, and the 6 wanderers went unseen and unheeded. Only the mind of Fand hung back from their hope, and more every year flies. His reason denied the lure that was leading the rest, and then one day he lost faith in Elfland. After that, he only followed until a day when the wind was full of rain, and all were cold and wet, and the horses weary. He left them then, and Rannick followed because he had no hope in his heart, and wished to wander from sorrow, until one day when all the blackbirds were singing in trees of the fields we know, and his helplessness left him in the glittering sunshine, and he thought of the cozy homes and the haunts of men. And soon he too passed out of the camp one evening and set off for the pleasant lands. And now the 4 that were left were all of one mind, and under the wet, coarse cloth that they hung on poles, there was deep content in the evenings, for Alfaric clung to his hope with all the strength of his race, that had once won Earl in old battles, and held it for centuries long, and in the vacant minds of Niv and Zend, this idea grew strong and big, like some rare flower that a gardener may plant by chance in a wild, untended place. And Thiel sung of the hope, and all his wild fancies that roamed after song decked Alvaric's quest with more and more glamour. So all were of one mind, and greater quests, whether mad or sane, have prospered when this was so, and greater quests have failed when it was otherwise. They had gone northwards for years along the backs of those houses, and then one day they would turn eastwards, wherever a certain look in the sky, or a touch of weirdness at evening, or a mere prophecy of Niv's, seemed to suggest a proximity of Elfland. Upon such occasions, they would travel over the rocks that all those years lay bordering the fields we know, until Alvaric saw that provisions for men and horses would barely bring them back to the houses of men. Then he would turn again, but Niv would have led them still onward over the rocks, for his enthusiasm grew as they went, and Thiel sang to them, prophesizing success, and Zend would say that he saw the peaks and the spires of Elfland. Only Alvaric was wise. And so they would come to the houses of men again, and buy more provisions, and Niv and Zend and Thiel would babble of the quest, pouring out the enthusiasm that burned in their hearts. But Alvaric did not speak of it, for he learned that men in those fields neither speak of nor look towards Elfland, although he had not learned why. Soon they were on again, and the folk that had sold them the produce of fields we know gazed curiously after them as they went, as though they thought that from madness alone, or from dreams inspired by the moon, came all the talk that they had heard from Niv and Zend and Thiel. Thus they always traveled on, always seeking new points from which to discover Elfland, and on the left of them blew scents from the fields we know, the scent of lilac from cottage gardens in May, and then the scent of the white thorn, and then of roses, till all the air was heavy with new mown hay. Exojam. They heard the low of cattle away on their left, heard human voices, heard partridges calling, heard all the sounds that go up from happy farms. And on the right, thank you for the lurk, I saw this vote in half. And on their right was always the desolate land, always the rocks, and never grass nor a flower. They had the companionship of men no more, and yet they could not find Elfland. In such a case, they needed the songs of Thyle and the sure hope of Niv. Dawn, someone spotted you. You have a stalker. And the talk of Alveric's quest spread through the land and overtook his wanderings, till all, she's very mean, oh no, I don't believe you, I don't believe you at all, till all men that he passed by knew his story, and from some he had the content that some men give to those who dedicate all their days to a quest, and from others he had honor. But all he asked for was provender, and this he bought when they brought it. So they went on. Like legendary things, they passed along the backs of houses, putting up their gray, shapeless tent in the gray evenings. They came as quietly as rain, and went away like mists drifting. Hi Divine, thank you so much for the hydrate. Oh my gosh, that was a very audible one. That's why I try and avoid her. Dang, sealed. I'll call you Glitter. Glitter, you're getting some shots up in my chat. Jeez. They were jests about them and songs, and the songs outlasted the jests. At last, they became a legend, which haunted those farms forever. They were spoken of when men told of helpless quests, and held up to laughter or glory, whichever men had to give. And all the while, the king of Elfland watched, for he knew by magic when Alveric's sword drew near. It had troubled his kingdom once, and the king of Elfland knew well the flavor of thunderbolt iron when he felt it loom on the air. From this, he had withdrawn his frontiers far, leaving all that ragged land deserted of Elfland, and though he knew not the length of human journeys, he had left a space that to cross would weary the comet, and rightfully deemed himself safe. Yes, it is my dog's birthday today. Technically March 17th, and you know it's March 18th now, but still, until I go to sleep, it shall be her birthday. She is 3 years old. 3! Happy birthday to Doggy! But when Alveric, with his sword, was far to the north, the elf king loosened the grip with which he had withdrawn Elfland, as the moon that withdraws the tide lets it flow back again, and Elfland came racing back as the tide over flat sands. Okay, so the king is actively altering the position of Elfland, which is why Alveric can't find it. It is constantly moving from him, and as he walks away, he releases his hold and it extends back. But when Alveric is near, he shrinks it. Is that kind of what I'm understanding? They talk about it like a tide, so it sounds like it ebbs and flows, like it shrinks and it extends, kind of. Thanks for the head pat. I saw this bone half little emote head pat. Oh, you're his girlfriend. Okay. That makes sense why he was so mean to you. That's funny. Well, welcome in. I'm happy to have you. Okay. With a long ribbon of twilight at its edge, it floated back over the waste of rocks. With old songs it came, with old dreams, and with old voices. And in a while, the frontier of twilight lay flashing and glimmering near the fields we know, like an endless summer evening that lingered on out of the golden age. But bleak and far to the north, where Alveric wandered, the limitless rocks still heaped the desolate lands. I'm watching my cat in the background. He's okay, he was just stretching. Only to fields from which he and his sword and his adventurous band were remotely gone, that mighty inlet of Elfland came lapping back. So that close again to the leather worker's cottage and to the farms of his neighbors, a bare 3 fields away, lay the land that was heaped and piled with all the wonder for which poets seek so hard, the very treasury of all romantic things. And the elfin mountains gazed over the border serenely, as though their pale blue peaks had never moved. And here the unicorns fed along the border, as it was their custom to do, feeding sometimes in Elfland, which is the home of all fabulous things, cropping lilies below the slopes of the Elfland mountains, and sometimes slipping through the border of twilight at evening, when all our fields are still, to feed upon earthly grass. It is because of this craving for earthly grass that comes on them now and then, as the red deer in Highland mountains crave once a year for the sea, that, fabulous though they are on account of their birth in Elfland, their existence is nevertheless known among men. The fox, which is born in our fields, also crosses the frontier, going into the border of twilight at certain seasons. It is thence that he gets the romance with which he comes back to our fields. He also is fabulous, but only in Elfland, as the unicorns are fabulous here. Okay. Okay, 2 things. One, I was just checking chat to make sure I was all caught up. One, if Alveric were to just try and find Elfland without his sword, it sounds like he would have found it, because it's just his sword that is giving the king knowledge that he's near. So if he got rid of the sword, he'd be able to go find Elfland easily. Oh, silly Alveric. And 2, that's such a funny comment that it says that foxes are like an awe creature in Elfland, the way that unicorns are an awe creature here. That's funny to think. No, for real. Become a poet, not a fighter. Isn't it king, poet? What is it? It's warrior, poet, king? Is that how that song goes? No. And seldom the folk on those farms saw the unicorns, even dim in the gloaming, for their faces were turned forever away from Elfland. Oh, my word. Yes, that's true. They never look at Elfland. They never look to the east, so they would never see the unicorn. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Mop, I love foxes too. They're my favorite animal. Not only are they cute as heck, but I love how clever they are. That's what makes them my favorite, is they're very, very clever. Hello, Abundant. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. And seldom the folk on those farms saw the unicorns, even dim in the glowing, for their faces were turned forever away from Elfland. The wonder, The beauty, the glamour, the story of Elfland were for minds that had leisure to care for such things as these. But the crops needed these men, and the beasts that were not fabulous, and the thatch, and the hedges, and 1,000 things. Barely at the end of each year, they won their fight against winter. Hello, Abundant. Thank you for the heart. They're weirdest in the best way. Yeah, foxes are cool. They knew well that if they let a thought of theirs turn but for a moment towards Elfland, its glory would grip them soon and take all their leisure away, and there would be no time left to mend thatch or hedge or to plough the fields that we know. But Orion, lured by the sounds of the horns that blew from Elfland at evening, and that some elvish attuning of his ears to magical things caused him alone in all of those fields to hear, came with his hounds to a field across which ran the frontier of twilight, and found the unicorns there late on an evening, and, slipping along the hedge of a little field with his hounds padding behind him, he came between a unicorn and the frontier and cut it off from Elfland. This was the unicorn that, with flashing neck, covered with flecks of foam that shone silvery in the starlight, panting, harried, and weary, came across the valley of Earl like an inspiration, like a new dynasty to a custom weary land, like news of a happier continent found far off by suddenly returned seafaring men. Boop, 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 boop. Okie dokie. Chapter 19. 12 old men without magic. I assume that this is the council. Give me 2 seconds. I posture checked myself and I didn't want my chair to squeak. Oh, thank you for one last hydrate before you went to sleep. Good night. Good night, good night, good night. Wow, thank you for being here. I hope you have a good rest. Bye-bye. I don't know why I'm waving. As if you can see me waving in real life. Here. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Now, few things pass by a village and leave no talk behind them, nor waves back, yeah, nor did this unicorn, for the 3 that saw it going by in the starlight immediately told their families, and many of these ran from their houses to tell the good news to others, for all strange news was accounted good in Earl. I don't know why I said gird. Was accounted good in Earl because of the talk that it made, and talk was held to be needful when work was over to pass the evenings away, so they talked long of the unicorn. And after a day or 2, in the forge of Gnarl, the Parliament of Earl was met again, seated by mugs of mead, discussing the unicorn, and some rejoiced and said that Orion was magic, because unicorns were of magic stock and came from beyond our fields. Therefore, said one, he has been to lands of which it does not become us to speak, and is magic, as all things are which dwell over there. And some agreed and held that their plans had come to fruition. But others said that the beast went by in the starlight, if beast it were, and who could say it was a unicorn? And one said that in the starlight it was hard to see it at all, and another said unicorns were hard to recognize. And then they began to discuss the size and shape of these beasts, and all the known legends that told of them, and came no nearer to agreeing together whether or not their lord had hunted a unicorn, till at last Gnarl, seeing that they would not thus come by the truth. Oh my god, that scan is choppy. Oh, that is a choppy scan. And deeming it necessary that the fact should be established one way or the other forever, rose up and told them that the time had come for a vote. So, by a method they had of casting shells of various colors into a horn that was passed from man to man, they voted about the unicorn as Gnarl had commanded, and a hush fell, and Gnarl counted, and it was seen to have been established by vote that there had been no unicorn. Oh no, but there was a unicorn. Also, nobody has redeemed Transform yet, and I want it, so I'm gonna redeem it. I think I got the wheel to work. I did. What will I be when I come back? That is the question. Oh, I'll be Bloomwood. Okay. And ka-chow. What the fuck? That's Chillmoyed. Okay, okay, never mind. I guess I will be Chillmoyed. Hold on. What the frick? Cinderworks. Okay, there's Bloom. Hello? Okay. Was I just blind and it landed on Chill? There's Gleam and then ka-chow. Oh my god. Oh my word. Look at Miss Voidmo yet in the dark. She's so dark. With Shoost, she's hard to see. She's so hard to see in Shoost. I am goth, yes. I have to fix my tail. I don't know how to fix it. That is something that I will try my best to figure out next time. I will try and fix my tail so that it is also black. But anyways, we are apparently Chillmoyed, so let's go back to Chillmoyed. Get out of here. You undo you. Undo you. Undo you. Undo you. No, undo. Okay. Okay, Chillmoyed. There we go. Dark mode is way better than you thought. It's cool. Yes, Ton, I never changed it. So yes, it is still Pissmoyed. Pissmoyed lives on for another day. I will change it when I get the time. Oh gosh. Sorrowfully, then, that Parliament of Earls saw that their plans to have a magic lord had failed. It didn't fail. You losers just decided to decide that it didn't. Hi, darling. Hello, good evening. But, like, it didn't fail. There was a unicorn. There is magic. They were all old men, and the hope that they had had for so long being gone, they turned less easily to newer plans. Hi, Maury! Oh my gosh, hello! Hello! Thank you so much for checking out my channel! Welcome! Hello! Yes! Hello! How are you tonight? Oh yeah, you're gonna see Benzo here. He's a mod, so he's here. W Benzos, we love Benzie. I am very happy to have you here, Maury. Welcome in. Yes, I am currently not my normal self, Maury. I have a transform redeem, and I redeemed it. And it's a set of 6 different variations, So there's 7 total. So it's ocean. I do. He's my doggy. But there's ocean, light, frost, flower, dark, and fire. So right now you're on frost. So I'm a little bit different today. Or not even today, just right now. Yes, this is Kari. Kari. It's her birthday today. Birthday dog. Oh, Benzo. Thank you for the gifted sub. Thank you, Benzo. I gotta see if I have you anywhere. I might not, honestly. Let me see. Oh, she's twitching. She's a dreaming away. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put you here. Good job. Good job. Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's move you down just a smidge. Just a smidge. Good job. Good job. Yay. Oh, Paul, you were trying to sleep? Oh, that is also your friend Husky's name. That's cool. That's cool. I don't hear Kari a lot, so it's fun to hear other ones. Okay. Had been, and the hope that they had for so long being gone, they turned less easily to newer plans than they had to the plan that they made so long ago. What should they do now? They said. How come by magic? What could they do that the world should remember Earl? 12 old men without magic. They sat there over their mead, and it could not lighten their sadness. But Orion was away with his hounds near that great inlet of Elfland, where it lay as it were at high tide, touching the very grass of the field that we knew. Oh my god. Oh my word. Okay, I hope I can show this. Look. Look at her tongue. She's sleeping with her tongue out. Oh my god, I love her so much. Oh no, she's so cute. Oh, she's such a cutie patootie. Oh. Oh my word, okay. Yes, okay, I think that's fine. Okay. Oh, and Chamoyed is gone. Bye bye, Chamoyed. Okay, touching the very grass. Yes, Orion is the sun. Yes, he was named after the constellation. Touching the very grass of the fields we know. He went there at evening, when the horns blew clear to guide him, and waited there all quiet at the edge of those fields for the unicorns to steal across the border, for he hunted stags no more. You think of Men in Black. I haven't watched those movies in a long time. What is the reference there? And as he went over those fields, hi, how would I pronounce this? YXUKO. I don't know if I should. Yuxuko? Maybe? Yuxuko? Thank you for the follow. Yuko. Okay, Yuko. Hello. Welcome in. Ah, hi Big Tam. Good evening. Hello. And as he went over the fields in the late afternoon, folk working on the farms would greet him cheerily, But when still he went eastwards, they spoke to him less and less, till at last when he neared the border and still kept on, they looked his way no more, but left him and his hounds to their own devices. There was a cat named Orion that was holding galaxies. Oh, okay. I really do need to rewatch those movies. They're pretty good. Oh, I'm sorry to hear. I hope that, if you stick around, I hope that I'm able to help calm you down and get you ready for bed. I hope you have a good rest of the night, Big Tam. Thank you for the look. Oh. Goofy. Yep, till at last, when he neared the border and still kept on, they looked his way no more, but left him and his hounds to their own devices. Big Tam is good. And by the time the sun set, he would be standing quiet by a hedge that ran right down into the frontier of twilight, with his hounds all gathered close in under the hedge, with his eye on them, all lest one of them dared to move. And the pigeons would come home to trees of the fields that we know, and twittering straylings, and the elfin horns would blow, clear, silver, magical music, thrilling in the chilled air, and all the colors of clouds would go suddenly changing. It was then, in the failing light, in the darkening of colors, that Orion would watch for a dim, white shape stepping out of the border of twilight. Is he not interested in going into the twilight? Does he not care to go into Elfland? That's what I want to know. Like, this is a mystical, magical world, and you don't want to go into it and explore it? Something's wrong. I'm like, what the fuck? And this evening, And this evening, just as he hushed a hound with his hand, just as all our fields went dim, there slipped a great white unicorn out of the border, still munching lilies, such as never grew in any fields of ours. He came, a whiteness on perfectly silent feet, 4 or 5 yards into the fields we know, and stood there, still as moonlight, and listened, and listened, and listened. I'm trying to see if you can find Corporal better, but I don't think so. Orion never moved, and he kept his hounds silent by some power he had, or by some wisdom of theirs. And in 5 minutes, the unicorn made a step or 2 forward, and began to crop the long, sweet, earthly grasses. And as soon as he moved, there came others through the deep blue border of twilight. And all at once, there were 5 of them feeding there, and still Orion stood with his hounds and waited. Wouldn't the human world be magical? I mean, he's lived in the human world, so I don't know. And also, hi Faye Judah, thank you so much for the follow. Or is it, no, it's Faye Judah. I'm not saying the other pronunciation. Nope. Little by little, the unicorns moved further away from the border, lured farther and farther. Throne. Your wish list is due for an update. Fans are checking your wish list right now. It's empty. I'm sorry. Throne, don't email me and let me know. Jesus. In the fields, lured farther and farther into the fields we know by the deep, rich, earthly grasses on which all 5 of them browsed in the silent evening. If a dog barked, even if a late cock crew, up went all their ears at once, and they stood watchful, not trusting anything in the fields of men, or venturing into them far. Oh. But at last, the one that had come first through the twilight got so far from his magical home that Orion was able to run between him and the frontier, and his hounds came behind him. And then he had Orion by toying with the chase. Then had he hunted but for an idle whim, and not for that deep love of the huntsman craft that only huntsmen know, then had he lost everything, for his hounds would have chased the nearest unicorns, and they would have been, in a moment, across the frontier and lost, and if the hounds had followed, they would have been lost too, and all that day's work would have gone for nothing. But Orion led his hounds to chase the furthest, watching all the while to see if any hound would try to pursue the others, and only one began to, but Orion's whip was ready, and so he cut his quarry off from its home, and his hounds, for the second time, were in full cry after a unicorn. Oh, are you wowing at Faye's points? Benzo, every raffle and gamble that he wins, he gives his points to Faye, so I don't know if it's necessarily a wow thing for Faye. Yeah, I know, it changes really quickly, doesn't it? In that first rush, the hounds drew far ahead of Orion, and this enabled him to head the unicorn off whenever it tried to turn to the magical land, and at such turnings he came near his hounds again, and the third time that Orion turned the unicorn, it galloped straight away, and so continued over the fields of men. The cry of the hounds went through the calm of the evening like a long ripple across a sleeping lake, following the unseen way of some strange diver. In that straight gallop, the unicorn gained so much on the hounds that soon Orion only saw him far off, but a white spot moving along a slope in the gloaming. Then it reached the top of a valley and passed from view, but that strong, queer scent that led the hounds like a song remained clear on the grass, and they never checked or faltered except for a moment at streams. Even there, their raging noises picked up the magical scent before Orion came up to give them his aid. And as the hunt went on, the daylight faded away till the sky was all prepared for the coming of stars, and 1 or 2 stars appeared, and a mist came up from streams and spread all white over fields till they could not have seen the unicorn if he had been close before them. The very trees seemed sleeping. Hold on, I'm trying to double check and make sure he didn't go into Elfland. I mean, maybe? Because it's saying some stars are appearing. Maybe? But I don't think so. Faye is working. I'm supposed to, I might hang out with her tomorrow, but she is trying to work a lot this week. So I'm sure that is what she is doing right now. She is working. And then I'll hang out with her soon. She must let me know. But we miss Faye. Oh, sad times. Oh yeah, she's a good one. Okay, anyways. They passed by little houses, lonely, sheltered by elms, shut off by high hedges of yew from those that roamed the fields, houses that Orion had never seen or known, till the chance course of this unicorn brought him suddenly past their doors. Dogs barked as they passed, and continued barking long, for that magical scent on the air, and the rush and the voice of the pack told them something strange was afoot. And at first they barked, because they would have shared in what was afoot, and afterwards, to warn their masters about the strangeness, they barked long through the evening. I assume they're barking at the unicorn. Correct? And once, as they passed a little house in a cluster of old thorns, a door suddenly opened, and a woman stood gazing to see them go by. She could have seen no more than gray shapes. Yeah, okay. But Orion, in the moment as he passed, saw all the glow of the house, and the yellow light streaming out in the cold. The merry warmth cheered him, and he would have rested a while in that little oasis of man in the lonely fields. But the hounds went on, and he followed, and those in the houses heard their cry go past, like the sound of a trumpet, whose echoes go fading away amongst the furthest hills. A fox heard them coming, and stood quite still and listened. At first he was puzzled. Then he caught the scent of the unicorn, and all was clear to him, for he knew by the magic flavor that it was something coming from Elfland. But when sheep caught the scent, they were terrified, and ran all huddled together until they could run no more. Cattle leaped up from their sleep, gazed dreamily, and wondered. But the unicorn went through them and away, and some rose-scented breeze that had strayed from valley gardens into the streets of a city slips through the noisy traffic and is gone. Soon all the stars were looking on those quiet fields through which the hunt went with exultation, a line of vehement life cleaving through sleep and silence. Oh, flag, wow! And now the unicorn, far out of sight though he was, no longer gained a little at every hedge, for at first he lost no more pace at any hedge than a bird loses passing clear of a cloud, while the great hounds struggled through what gaps they could find, or lay on their sides and wriggled between the stems of the bushes. But now he gathered his strength. I lost my spot, apologies. But now he had gathered his strength with more effort at every hedge, and sometimes hit the top of the hedge and stumbled. He was galloping slower too, for this was a journey such as no unicorn made through the deep calm of Elfland, and something told the tired hounds that they were drawing nearer, and a new joy entered their voices. They crossed a few more black hedges, and then there loomed before them the dark of a wood. When the unicorn entered the wood, the voices of the hounds were clear in his ears. A pair of foxes saw him going slowly, and they ran along beside him to see what would befall the magic creature, coming weary to them from Elfland. One on each side they ran, keeping his slow pace and watching him, and they had no fear of the hounds, though they heard their cry, for they knew that nothing that followed that magical scent would turn aside after any earthly thing. So he went laboring through the wood, and the foxes watched him curiously all the way. The hounds entered the wood, and the great oaks rang with the sound of them, and Orion followed with an enduring speed, that he may have got from our fields, or that may have come to him over the border from Elfland. The dark of the wood was intense, but he followed his hound's cry, and they did not need to see with that wonderful scent to guide them. They never wavered as they followed that scent, but went on through gloaming and starlight. It was not like any hunt of fox or stag, for another fox will cross the line of a fox, or a stag may pass through a herd of stags and hens. Even a flock of sheep will bewilder hounds by crossing the line they follow. But this unicorn was the only magical thing in all of our fields that night, and his scent lay unmistakable over the earthly grass, a burning, pungent flavor of enchantment among the things of every day. They hunted him clear through the wood and down to a valley, the two foxes keeping with him and watching still. He picked his feet carefully and went down the hill, as though his weight hurt them while he descended the slope. Yet his pace was as fast as that of the hounds going down. Then he went a little way along the trough of the valley, turning to his left as soon as he came down the hill. But the hounds gained on him then, and he turned for the opposite slope. And then his weariness could be concealed no longer, the thing that all wild creatures conceal to the last. He toiled over every step, as though his legs dragged his body heavily. Orion saw him from the opposite slope. "Oh, Hitmanic, you lived! Good job!" And when the unicorn got to the top, the hounds were close behind him, so that he suddenly whipped round his great single horn and stood before them, threatening. Then the hounds bayed about him, but the horn waved and bowed with such swift grace that no hound caught a grip. They knew death when they saw it, and eager though they were to fasten upon him, they leaped back from that flashing horn. Then Orion came up with his bow, but he would not shoot, perhaps because it was hard to put an arrow safely past his pack of hounds, perhaps because of a feeling such as we have today, and which is no new thing among us, that it was unfair to the unicorn. Instead, he drew an old sword with a D that he was wearing, and advanced through his hounds and engaged that deadly horn. And the unicorn arched his neck, and the horn flashed at Orion, and, weary though the unicorn was, yet a mighty force remained in that muscular neck to drive the blow that he aimed, and Orion barely parried. He thrust at the unicorn's throat, but the great horn tossed the sword aside from its aim. Gosh. Oh, okay, I'll hydrate. I'm getting a little tired. I need a posture check. Oh, okay, posture and stretch. Okay. Oops, I hit my camera, sorry. Hi, Slick. Oh, stretch. This is so nice. That was a good one. Thank you. Oh, that was a good stretch. But the great horn tossed the sword aside from its aim and lunged again at Orion. And again he parried with the whole weight of his arm, and had but an inch to spare. He thrust again at the throat, and the unicorn parried the sword thrust almost contemptuously. Again and again the unicorn aimed fair at Orion's heart. The huge white beast stepped forward, pressing Orion back. That graceful bowing neck, with its white arch of hard muscle driving the deadly horn, was wearying Orion's arm. Once more he thrust and failed. He saw the unicorn's eye flash wickedly in the starlight. He saw all white before him, the fearful arch of its neck. He knew he could turn aside its heavy blows no more. And then a hound got a grip in front of the right shoulder. No moments passed before many another hound leaped onto the unicorn, each with a chosen grip. For all they looked like a rabble rolling and heaving by chance. Orion thrust no more, for many hounds all at once. Konnichiwa, kiripaturi kawaii one-sama-tan. Konnichiwa, hajimemashite, sailor desu, genki, sailor desu, genki wa? Maybe? I know I said hello, it's nice to meet you. I am Sailor, and I think Genki wa is how are you? I think. Orion thrust no more, for many hounds, all at once, were between him and his enemy's throat. Awful groans came from the unicorn, such sounds as are not heard in the fields that we know. And then there was no sound but the deep growl of the hounds that roared over the wonderful carcass as they wallowed in fabulous blood. Alright, well, I think that's 2 unicorns down. Orion's out here killing unicorns, it's so sad. Chapter 20, a historical fact. Amongst the weary hounds, refreshed with fury and triumph, Orion stepped with his whip and drove them away from the monstrous dead body, and sent the lash quivering around in a wide circle, while in his other hand he took his sword and cut off the unicorn's head. Oh my gosh! Hello, Rayberry! Hello, everybody! Hi, Raiders! Hello! Good evening! Ray, I want to check out your model. Let me see what you look like. Oh my gosh, please don't speak, please don't speak, please don't make noise. I think I muted it, yes. Oh, hold on, I go check your font. Hello, Raiders! How was your night? How was your stream? My name is Sailor Simoyet. Oh, hi Tanya, thank you for the follow. I'm an ocean dog VTuber, obviously. I am doing ASMR, reading specifically. We are reading a story called The King of Elfland's Daughter. It is one of the first classic fairy tale stories, actually. It inspired The Lord of the Rings and a bunch of other things. So, it's very old, but really good. I'm really enjoying it. It was funny. Oh, that's great. Duvu. I do have a fridge, but it's downstairs. You might have to walk a little bit. That's awesome. You had a good stream. Your model looks really cute. I love the purple. You've got like a whole purple thing going on. She's very, very pretty. I love her. Wow, you're a half elf and other half yet a secret. That's awesome. A white berry. No, she's purple. What do you mean? She's so purple. Well, thank you for raiding. That's very, very, very kind of you. I appreciate you all for being here. Of course. Yes, Ray, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, absolutely. She's a weird thing. She's so cute. What do you mean? Hi, Wolf Darkness. Thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, 520. Yay! So cute, so fun. I you will stick around for a little bit. Thank you for the follow, Duvu. Thank you. This is my dog, Kari, by the way. My cat, Timmy, is behind her, but you can't tell too well. I don't have it phenomenally set up. She's been moving around, so I'm trying to make the camera follow her wherever she goes. And thank you for the follow, Ray. Thank you. Yes. Good night, Ray. I hope you have a lovely, lovely evening and a great sleep. Yeah, isn't she? You fluffy thing. Okay. I shall get back to reading. What the heck was that? What is that? Oh, Ray, it's your stream. What? I muted it. Either way, that's some nice music. It sounded good. Okay. I haven't even started this chapter. Perfect. Chapter 20. A historical fact. Amongst the weary hounds, refreshed with fury and triumph, Orion stepped with his whip and drove them away from the monstrous dead body. I did start this one. What am I on about? And set the lash quivering around in a wide circle, while in his other hand he took his sword and cut off the unicorn's head. Oh, bonks and headpads. I think those two don't go together. That's so funny. We are good. How are y'all? Yes, how are y'all? Hi, God Hunter. Welcome in. Oh my God, Benzo. Uh-oh. Benzo, you're so notorious. This is so funny. People notice you everywhere. That's so funny. Oh, it's okay, Duvu. No problem at all. Okay, good night, Hitmanic. Good night. Thanks for coming in. Bye-bye. Sleep well. Hi, Zany. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. He also took the skin of the long, white neck and brought it away, dangling empty from the head. Ooh. All the while, the hounds bayed and made eager rushes, one by one, at that magical carcass, whenever one saw a chance of eluding the whip, so that it was long before Orion got his trophy, for he had to work as hard with his whip as with his sword. But at last he had it slung by a leather thong over its shoulders, the great horn pointing upwards past the right side of his head, and the smeared skin hanging down along his back. Ugh. Hi, Brownie. Hello, hello, hello. It is nasty, isn't it? Ugh. Dude, they gamble a lot. They gamble a lot. But also, I know that my settings are kind of higher than normal. I did go in and adjust them, so I think you make some seaweed a bit faster than you're supposed to. It's nice to meet you, Brownkie. Thanks. Hello. This is funny. Just to have people see each other. I love it. That's so fun. Chat intermingles. And while he arranged it thus, he allowed his hounds to worry the body again and taste that wonderful blood. Then he called to them and blew a note on his horn and turned slowly home towards Earl, and they all followed behind him, and the two foxes stole up to taste the curious blood, for they had sat and waited for this. While the unicorn was climbing his last hill, Orion felt such fatigue that he could have gone little further. But now that the heavy head hung from his shoulders, all his fatigue was gone, and he trod with a lightness such as he had in the mornings, for it was his first unicorn, and all his hounds Oh my word. God Hunter. 10 streak. And all the emotes. Thank you. Thank you. And his hounds seemed refreshed, as though the blood they had lapped had some strange power in it. I mean, obviously it's unicorn blood. And they came home, riotously? No. Ratousely. That's what I'm going with. Gamboling and rushing ahead as when newly loosed from their kennels. Words I don't know. Sorry. Okay, let me catch up on chat. 2 seconds. Sorry. You don't even get 100 points? Yeah, we get a lot here. We get a lot of points in here. It is... Oh, thanks, Paul. Thanks for doing the command. Yes, it is the King of Elfland's daughter. It's from like 1927 or something. It's kind of just a little old. Just a smidge. Hi Browngie, thank you for the follow. Yeah, it's almost 100 years actually, isn't it? That's crazy. Good night, Ton. Thank you for being here. Have a good night. Sleep well. Good night. That's true, IDK. But hey, you're still here. Let's go. My number 3 hater. You're doing a lot of support tonight for hating me so much. Just saying. Well, I read that one. Thus Orion came home. Oh, I got a stretched face. Thus Orion came home over the downs in the night, till he saw the valley before him, full of the smoke of Earl, where one late light was burning in a window of one of his towers, and, coming down the slope by familiar ways, he brought his hounds to their kennels, and just before dawn had touched the heights of the downs, he blew his horn before his postern door, and the aged guardian of the door, when he opened it to Orion, saw the great horn of the unicorn bobbing over his head. You can moan. Hi Ralix, thank you for the lurk. And also for the headbands. Thank you so much. Oh, Paul, you got 3. God, you only got 1 brain cell. Do better. Oh, disguise. Oh, okay. This was the horn that was sent in later years as a gift from the Pope to King Francis. Okay. Benvenuto Cellini tells of it in his memoirs. Who am I gonna be? Oh, Gamliad. Okay. Good job. I'm still Chilmoyed. Okay, this wheel sucks. Let me fix it. There you go. Oh, nope. It still has chill in it. Hold on. There we go. Now I'm Gamliad. What the heck? It is. No, this is a dog. My cat's in the back, but this is a dog. Yes, I did the outfits. I did the outfits with them. Yay! Boop, boop, boop. Okay, sure. She's sleeping. She is a sleepers. Oh, I woke her up. Kisses, hugs and kisses to the dog. Good. Thank you, Bronky. You have a wonderful night. Good night. Good night. Good night. What kind of brand is my dog? That's a good question. I don't know. I fear I can't think of a clever answer for your question. Since you don't want the breed, you want the brand, I'm afraid I cannot think of a clever answer. I apologize. I could just have Kari. Oh. Number 3, Ada. Number 3. Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. He tells how Pope Clement sent for him and a certain Tobia and ordered them to make designs for the setting of a unicorn's horn, the finest ever seen. Judge then of Orion's delight when the horn of the first unicorn he ever took. I'll adjust my camera. Fantastic. Hi Brennan, thanks for the like. He ever took was such as to be esteemed generations later the finest ever seen, and in no less a city than Rome. Thank you for the lurk, IDK. Hey, don't spam it, don't spam it. With all her opportunities to acquire and compare such things. Ah, nice glasses. Thank you. Hey, not the flick. But thank you. You know, I put those on sometimes just for the fun of it, you know. Ciao. Hey, I'm not 4 eyes anymore. Calm down. Hey, Leon, thank you so much for the follow. Yes, perfect. For a number of these curious horns must have been available for the Pope to have selected for the gift the finest ever seen. But in the simpler days of my story, the rarity of the horn was so great that unicorns were still considered fabulous. They still are. Unicorns are not a common thing. Not the punk. The year of the gift to King Francis would be about 1530, the horn being mounted in gold, and the contract went to Tobia and not to Benvenuto Cellini. I mentioned the date because there are those who care little for a tale, if it be not here and there supported by history, and who, even in history, care more for fact than philosophy. What is this man on about? This author's going crazy. Oh my god. Bronky, I hope you're okay. Y'all are going ham. That's funny. If any such reader have followed the fortunes of Orion so far, he will be hungry by now for a date or a historical fact. As for the date, I give him 1530, while for the historical fact, I select that generous gift recorded by Benvenuto Cellini, because it may well be that just where he came to unicorns, such a reader may have felt furthest away from history, and have felt loneliest, thank you, just at this point for want of historical things. How the unicorn's horn found its way from the castle of Earl, and in what hands it wandered, and how it came at last to the city of Rome. One would of course make another book. You got 3 books you need to read? Like, is it like assigned reading? But all that I need to say now about that horn is that Orion took the whole head to Threll, who took off the skin and washed it and boiled the skull for hours and replaced the skin and stuffed the neck with straw, and Orion set it in the midmost place among all the heads that hung in the high hall, and the rumor went all through Earl, as swift as unicorns gallop, telling of this fine horn that Orion had won, so that the Parliament of Earl met again in the forge of Gnarl. They sat at the table there, debating the rumor, and others besides Thrall had seen the head, and at first, for the sake of old divisions, some held to their opinion that there had been no unicorn. They drank Gnarl's goodly mead and argued against the monster. But after a while, whether Thrall's argument convinced them, or whether, as is more likely, they yielded from generosity, which arose like a beautiful flower out of the mellow mead, whatever it was, the debate of those that opposed the unicorn languished, and when the vote was put, it was declared that Orion had killed a unicorn, which he had hunted hither from beyond the fields we know. Hi, Emmy. Hello. Good evening. Yeah, taxidermy unicorn. Yeah, for sure. It's crazy. We are reading a very old fairy tale. And at this, they all rejoiced. Also, Emmy, let me get you a shout out. Hold on. That should have worked. Yes, it did. I think, did that work? Or no, did that not work? It did work. Fantastic. Yay! Yahoo! Yahoo! Shout out for Emmy! Oh, I already did it. You have an 8-loss streak on this channel. Swanky, I don't know how that happens. It's crazy. Is that like the unicorn that you stick? Huh? I'm not fully certain I understand. But no, it's a real unicorn that he killed. A real one. And you're very welcome. Hi, Apocalyptic. Good evening. And at this, they all rejoiced, for they saw at last the magic for which they had longed, and for which they had planned so many years ago, when all were younger and had more hope in their plans. And as soon as the vote was taken, Gnarl brought out more mead, and they drank again to mark the happy occasion. For magic at last, said they, had come on Orion, and a glorious future surely awaited Earl. And the long room, and the candles, and the friendly men, and the deep comfort of mead made it easy to look a little way forward into time, and to see a year or so that had not yet come, and to see coming glories glowing a little way off. And they told again of the days, but nearer now, when the distant lands should hear of the vale that they loved. They told again of the fame of the fields of Earl, going from city to city. One praised its castle, another its huge high downs, another the vale itself, all hidden from every land, another the dear, quaint houses built by an olden folk, another the deep of the woods that lay over the skyline, and all spoke of the time when the wide world should hear of it all, because of the magic that was there in Orion. For they knew that the world has a quick ear for magic, and always turns towards the wonderful, even though it be nearly asleep. What do you mean, sorry about tonight? Wait. Just in terms of like scuff-wise. From what I saw, your stream was fine. I enjoyed it when I was in there. It was all green, and I mean, you were doing your positive affirmations, and then we were talking about Pachaco and Sanrio. So I think your stream was fine from what I saw. It was okay. Their voices were high, praising magic, telling again of the unicorn. Hi, True Lemonhead. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. Telling again of the unicorn, glorifying in the future of Earl, when suddenly, in the doorway, stood the Freer. He was there in his long white robe, with its trimming of mauve. In the door, with the knight behind him. 10 streak. That's a lot. Yes, I mean, you were fine. I promise. It was all good. And 10 stream is crazy apocalyptic. Thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god. It is piss yellow. Okay, sorry. Hold on. I will do it myself. It's piss moya though. Let's go. It's piss moya. Welcome. She's back. I'm gonna have to change that. Oh, funny. Oh my word, I lost where I was. Okay, hold on. I kind of have an eye for it. Okay. Do. Glorifying in the future of Earl, when suddenly in the doorway stood the Freer. He was there in his long white robe, with its trimming of mauve, and the door with the knight behind him. As they looked, in the light of their candles, they could see he was wearing an emblem on a chain of gold around his neck. Gnarl bade him welcome. Some moved a chair to the table, but he had heard them speak of the unicorn. He lifted his voice from where he stood and addressed them. Cursed be unicorns, he said, and all their ways, and all things that be magic. Keep it? You want me to keep it? Keep this yellow? Make it a small chance. Okay, like do 2 different versions? Question mark? Good job, Leon. Good job. Yeah, it's addicting, isn't it? And something that you can do. I know. That's the funny part. They think it's freaking the color of pee. Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. Do me. Frick. No. Did I spell it wrong? Oh, it was a 3. Why did I type a 2? No. I'm gonna retype that. But with a 3. Okay. Duel me. Duel me right now, Lean. Duel me. Frick, Poliwag. In the awe that suddenly changed the mellow room, one cried, Master, curse not us. Good Freer, said Gnarl. We hunted no unicorn. But the Freer raised up his hand against unicorns and cursed them yet. Cursed be their horn, he cried, and the place where they dwell, and the lilies whereon they feed. Cursed be all songs that tell of them. Cursed be they utterly with everything that dwelleth upon salvation. I won the duel. Except tentatively. I win. And now I'm going to... I won the slots. Oh, I've never seen anybody win slots before. I won. I won slots. Let's go. It must be rigged. It's your least favorite transformation because it smells and looks like pee, How do you know it smells like pee? The fuck? Do I smell like pee? And no, I don't think you hate anybody, Lean. I understand it's all for the joke. Yeah, what do you mean I smell? Like, the fuck? I don't smell like pee. What the fuck? He paused to allow them to renounce the unicorns, standing still in the doorway, looking sternly into the room. And they thought, hello James, thank you for the follow. And they thought of his stalwart, nope, and they thought of the sleekness of the unicorn's hide, his swiftness, the grace of his neck, and his dim beauty cantering by when he came past Earl in the evening. They thought of his stalwart and redoubtable horn. They remembered old songs that told of him. They sat in uneasy silence and would not renounce the horn. Yes, thank you, Jufu. I might look like piss, but that doesn't mean I smell like piss, okay? Jeez, Oh, so loser. That's what you think. Paul, what the frick? That's what you smell. Prove it. I can't. Unfortunately, I don't think I can prove it. Wait, I can prove it. I will do 2 attempts. Hey, Paul, do I smell like piss? Oh, baby. No. Stinky. I smell like piss. I smell like piss. Oh no. I smell like pee-pee. What the fuck? I'm nasty as fuck. Oh shit. Oh, good job, David. You're not stinky. Congrats. Oh man, what the frick? Ooh, Emmy, you're kind of stinky, Emmy. You might need to you might need to take a shower. I need to go soak in the bath after this though. Damn. Yeah, no, I'm like shit moyed at this point. Jesus. Yeah, it's true. 12 and 2. Congrats. You hand me soap. Thanks. And the freer knew what they thought, and he raised his hand again, clear in the candlelight with the night behind him. Cursed be their speed, he said, and their sleek white hide. Cursed be their beauty, and all that they have of magic, and everything that walks by enchanted streams. And still he saw in their eyes a lingering love for those things that he forbade, and therefore he ceased not yet. He lifted his voice yet louder and continued, with his eye sternly upon those troubled faces. And cursed be trolls, elves, goblins, and fairies upon the earth, and hippogriffs, and Pegasus in the air, and all the tribes of the merfolk under the sea. Our holy rites forbid them, and cursed be all doubts, all singular dreams, all fancies, and from magic may all true folk be turned away. Amen. Bro, this man himself is the reason we don't have any fairy tale creatures. That's so sad. Maddie, you're gonna go edit. Yeah, you did come back to us all talking about pee. Yeah. Oh, emo me smells like red roses. Nice. Yeah, true. Amen. Yeah, you heard of a gamer girl bathwater, now you hear about gamer girl piss. Woo! No. Nope, that's not where I'm at. I skipped a paragraph, sorry. He turned round suddenly and was into the night. A wind loitered about the door, then flapped it too, and the large room in the forge of Gnarl was as bad, was as it had been, gosh, a few moments before. Yet the mellow mood of it seemed dulled and dim, and then Gnarl spoke, rising up at the table's end and breaking the gloom of the silence. Did we plan our plans, he said, so long ago, and put our faith in magic, that we should now renounce magical things? Thank you for the head pats, Matt. And curse our neighbors, the harmless folk beyond the fields we know, and the beautiful things of the air, and dead mariners' love dwelling beneath the sea? No, no, said some, and they quaffed their mead again. And then one rose with his horn of mead held high, then another, and then another, till all were standing upright all around the light of the candles. Magic! One cried, and the rest with one accord took up his cry till all were shouting, Magic! The friar on his homeward way heard that cry of magic. He gathered his sacred robe more closely around him and clutched his holy things, and set a spell that kept him from sudden demons and the doubtful things of the mist. Oh my god, God Hunter, what? You asked if you're dead? Should you sleep and be a good boy? The A-ball says no. It's doubtful. Oh my god, don't go sleeping then. You gotta stay up, doo-doo. God Hunter, you are dead. Oh no. Lean, you have class. Should you go to bed? No. 8-ball is like anti-class apparently. Look deep in your heart. That's so funny. Oop. Oh my god, a message got deleted. I didn't even get to see what the message was. Womp. Oh, apparently whatever you asked 8-ball. On Monday you stayed up for more than 24 hours? Oh my word. Oh my gosh. Be good. Please get some sleep. Okay, Paul. Look, I'm not piss moited right now, so I don't smell like pee right now, okay? Thank you very, very much. Yeah, Lean, I don't want to potentially cause any sort of, like, uncomfort for anybody who... Clean laundry, that's a good question. Any discomfort for anybody who might identify as gay or anything of the sort on the spectrum for LGBTQIA+. So we are just trying to be nice and cordial and maybe not go that route. Just to be accepting of all. Okay, awesome, thanks. Oops, I'm sorry, I cracked my thumb. I'm not supposed to do that. Yeah, I probably do smell like saltwater breeze, you know? Okay, I'll do one last chapter and then I'm gonna go to bed. Oh, Booba. Oh, Booba. Booba, thank you. Thank you, Booba. It's so nice. Thank you so much, Booba Sweat. So sweet, so sweet. So very nice of this. Yay! Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. No, I probably do smell like wet dog. Yes, pee-pee piss girl, that's me. For real, the best booba. The best booba around. Okay, chapter 21, On the Verge of Earth. And on that day, Orion rested his hounds. But the next day he rose early and went to his kennels, and loosened the joyous hounds in the shining morning, and led them out of the valley and over the downs toward the frontier of twilight again. And he took his bow with him no more, for only his sword and his whip, for he had come to love the joy of his 15 hounds. That's a lot. When they hunted the one-horned monster. and felt that he shared the joy of every hound, while to shoot one with an arrow would be but a single joy. The New Atlantis. Huh. I don't think I've heard of that one, honestly. I presume it's about Atlantis, yes. All day he went over the fields, greeting some farmer here and there, or worker in the field, and gaining greetings in return and good wishes for sport. Oof. But when evening came, and he was near the frontier, fewer and fewer greeted him as he passed, for he was manifestly traveling where none went. Gosh, sorry, apologies. Whence even their thoughts held back. So he went lonely, yet cheered by his eager thoughts, and happy in the camaradereship of his hounds, and both his thoughts and his hounds were all for the chase. I don't have a raid target. I don't set those up preemptively. I just sort of, when it's time to raid, I sort of look. So, when it is time for me to finish in probably, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes or so, let me know again. Come back. Thank you for the headpads, Dubu. Thank you so much. Yes. Yep. And so he came to the barrier of twilight again, where the hedges ran down to it. Benzo 20 Strange Shriek. Oof. Yeah, apocalyptic again. Just let me know when it's time for me to raid. Not really, more of a thought experiment on certificate moral utopia. Ooh. Where are you going with that, Liam? What conversation did I miss? Apologies. I just kind of feel like I got thrown right into something. For the fields of men and turned strange and dim in a glow that is not of our earth, and disappeared in the twilight. He stood with his hounds close in against one of these hedges, just where it touched the barrier, the light just there on the edge. If, like anything of our earth, was like the misty dimness that flashes upon a hedge, seen only across one field, when touched by the rainbow. In the sky, the rainbow is clear, but close across one wide field, the rainbow's end scarcely shows, yet a heavenly strangeness has touched and altered the hedge. In some such light as that glowed the last of the hawthorns that grew in the fields of men, and just beyond it, like a liquid opal, all full of wondering lights, lay the barrier through which no man can see, and no sound come but the sound of the elfin horns, and only that to the ears of very few. Wait. Okay, I understand. The horns were blowing now, piercing that barrier of dim light and silence with the magical resonance of their silver note, that seemed to beat past all things, intervening to come to Orion's ear, as the sunlight beats through either to illuminate the valves of the moon. I'm making sure I'm caught up on chat. Oh, good night, Duvu. I hope you have a wonderful night. Sleep well. Oh, that's what the book you suggested was about. Okay. I get you. And good night, Benzo. Yeah, Benzo, I thought you were going to bed at like 1. Didn't you say you're gonna start popping some melatonin at 1 o'clock? You're 2 hours late. Good night, Benzo. Yeah, you thought so. Oops. And I love the rain. Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. Yes, but alas. Well, I should have it from here, Benzo. You are good. Thank you for all that you've done. Have a good night. Sleep well. Hi, Eagle. eagle a rend the king, maybe? Thank you so much for the follow. Good evening. Welcome in. The horns were blowing now. Oxos, hello. Thank you for the follow. Good evening. The horns were blowing now, piercing that barrier of dim light and silence with the magical resonance of their silver note. That seemed, I feel like I read this note, that seemed to be past all things intervening to come to Orion's ear as the sunlight beats through either to, yeah, I did read this, to illumine the valves of the moon. The horns died down, and nothing whispered from Elfland, and all the sounds thenceforth were the sounds of an earthly evening. Even these grew few, and still no unicorns came. A dog barked far away. A cart, the sole sound on an empty road, went homeward wearily. Someone spoke in a lane, and then left the silence unbroken, for words seemed to offend the hush that was over all of our fields. And in the hush, Orion gazed at the frontier, watching for the unicorns that never came, expecting each moment to see one step through the twilight. But he had done unwisely in coming to the same spot, oh yeah, you absolutely did, at which he had found the 5 unicorns only 2 days below. For of all creatures, the unicorns are the wariest, guarding their beauty from the eye of man with never-ceasing watchfulness, dwelling all day beyond the fields that we know, and only entering them rarely at evening, when all is still, and with the utmost vigilance, and venturing even then scarcely beyond the edges. Hello, Axos. Hello. Time to start spamming. Oh no. That's right, you better not. I don't know if he'll respond to that. To come on such animals twice at the same spot within 2 days with hounds, after hunting and killing one of them, was more unlikely than Orion thought. But his heart was full of the triumph of his hunt, and the scene of it lured him back to it in the way. Ah, Jerry! Hi, Jerry. Hello. I gotta put you up here. Up. Okay, I'm making sure I didn't miss anything. Yay! Thank you, Jerry. Thank you so much for the resub. Oh. It's okay. It's just reading, so your glasses, the visual isn't the most important part. It's the audio that is. But his heart was full of the triumph of his hunt, and the scene of it lured him back to it in the way that such scenes have. And now he gazed at the frontier, waiting for one of these great creatures to come proudly through, a great tangible shape out of the dim opalescence. And no unicorn came, and standing, gazing there so long, that curious boundary began to lure him till his thoughts went roaming with its wandering lights, and he desired the peaks of Elfland. Finally! Oh my god, kid. This is where your mother's from. Why are you only just now wanting to go to the Elfland, bro? And well they knew that Lore, who dwelt on those farms, lying all along the edge of the fields we know, and wisely kept their eyes turned ever away from that wonder that lay with its marvel of colors so near to the backs of their houses. For there was a beauty in it such as is not in all of our fields, and it is told those farmers in youth how, if they gaze upon those wandering lights, there will remain no joy for them in the goodly fields, the fine brown furrows, or the waves of wheat, or in any things of ours, but their hearts will be far from here with elfin things, yearning always for unknown mountains, and for folk not blessed by the freer. And standing now, while our earthly evening waned, upon the very edge of that magical twilight, the things of earth rushed swiftly from his remembrance, and suddenly all his care was for elfin things. Thank you for that, Fetz. I am trying to think of what this sentence insinuates. While our earthly evening waned, upon the edge of the magical twilight, the things of earth rushed swiftly from his remembrance, as in, he's no longer thinking of earthly things, but he is suddenly thinking of elfin things. Why does that sound like he almost had like a spell put on him to not care about the elvish world? I don't recall that happening, but maybe that's why he's never gone for Elfland, because he never wanted to because of a spell. Of all the folk that trod the paths of men, he remembered only his mother. Oh, okay, just fuck your dad, I guess. And suddenly knew, as though the twilight had told him, that she was enchanted, and he of a magical line. And none had told him this, but he knew it now. Hello, Zenin! I saw your message last night, where you literally said you came in right after I raided. You came at the very end of the stream. I thought that was so sad. Hi, Captain Loggy. Thank you so much for that, pets. But, hello, Zenin. Hello. I'm glad you got to get here and actually watch a little bit of it. And welcome, Big Tam. Welcome back. Hi, Edgar. Welcome in. Good evening. How are you? Yeah, Zenin, I usually start around 12, and I'll stream for about 2 hours. I'm at 2.5 right now. I mean, look, I say I start at 12. I always start at 12:30. I'm always late. Ugh. So, I usually go... Oh, Zenin! Zenin! Thank you so much. Hold on. I gotta put you up in here. But... you did come a little late. As soon as I was finishing this chapter, I was getting off. But like if my timing doesn't work, and that's why it's always inconvenient, then unfortunately you can't really help that kind of stuff. But I get to watch your streams in the day after I wake up, so that's always fun. And I am also good, Edgar. Thank you so much for asking. I'm a little tired, but I'm more hungry than I'm tired, honestly. But I don't need to eat. I already ate dinner. I'm good. Oh, thank you, Captain. I hope you have a wonderful sleep. Good night. Thank you so much. Hi, I'm Lokia. Or is it I'm Loki A? We are reading The King of Elfland's Daughter. There we go. Ka-chow. It is one of the very first high fantasy novels. It actually inspired like Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. So anything that has a sort of elf area that's separate from Earth, it was inspired from this book. So it's very, very cool. You had an interesting day. Oh yes, Big Tam, I remember. Yes. And tired over hungry. Yeah, honestly, me too. Like, if after I end stream, I could eat, but no, I'm gonna go sleep. Are you kidding? I'd rather sleep. It's It's very interesting. It's quite good. It's 97 pages. I am 58 pages in. I thought this was going to be maybe 4 streams max. We are halfway, like just now, so it's going to be a bit. Anyways, I don't know if I did my page turn. For years, he had wandered through many an evening and guessed where his mother had gone. He had guessed in lonely silence. None knew what the child was guessing, and now an answer seemed to hang in the air. It seemed as though she were only a little way off across the enchanted twilight that divided those farms from Elfland. He moved 3 steps and came to the frontier itself. His foot was the furthest that stood in the fields that we know. Against his face the frontier lay like a mist, in which all the colors of pearls— Hi Mercy, thank you so much for the follow. Good evening, welcome in. Colors of pearls were dancing gravely. A hound stirred as he moved. The pack turned their heads and eyed him. He stood, and they rested again. He tried to see through the barrier, but saw nothing but wandering lights that were made by the massing of twilights. Thank you for the follow, I'm Loki, yeah. From the ending of thousands of days, which had been preserved by magic to build that barrier there. Then he called to his mother. What? Okay, why would you call for? He called to his mother across that mighty gap, those few preserved by magic to thank you for the head pats, Mercy. Thank you. Preserved by magic to build that barrier there. Okay. Thank you, Big Tam. That's very nice. What? A meteor hit your state? What the frick? And thank you, Mercy. That's so nice. Okay, I'm low-key A. Okay. Gotcha. I will pronounce it correct. But what the fuck do you mean a meteor hit your state? Huh? That's crazy. Okay. Then he upon one side earth and the haunts of men, and the time that we measure by minutes and hours and years, and upon the other Elfland and another way of time. He called to her twice. Oh god, that's crazy. He called to her twice and listened and called again, and never a cry or a whisper came out of Elfland. He then felt that he had the magnitude of the gulf that divided him from her, and he knew it to be vast and dark and strong, like the gulfs that set apart our times from a bygone day, or that stand between daily life and the things of dream, or between folk tilling the earth and the heroes of song, or between those living yet and those they mourn. And the barrier twinkled and sparkled. Hi, Wisconsin Bear, thank you for the follow. And hello, Humble Trees, thank you so much for the follow. And the barrier twinkled and sparkled as though so airy a thing never divided lost years from that fleeing hour called now. You heard a loud thud. Okay, but you're safe though, yeah? This is a dog. Where she's at, my camera, I can't move my camera correctly to show it, but this is a doggy. This is a big dog. She's sleeping. Yeah, she is cute. And a few minutes later, Dad texted. That's crazy. I'm glad you're okay though. Yo, Humble, I like your repo mode. Dance it up. It was in a different city, okay. Yes. Today is actually her birthday, so she's been getting a lot of treats and a lot of toys and a lot of extra loving. Happy birthday, Kari. I'm telling you, she's passed out. Oh my god. How am I literally petting her snout and she's still passed out? She turned 3 today. Little baby girl turned 3. He stood there with the cries of earth, faint in the late evening, behind him, and the mellow glow of the soft earthly twilight, and before him, close to his face, the utter silence of Elfland, and the barrier that made that silence, gleaming with its strange beauty. And now he thought no more of earthly things, but only gazed into that wall of twilight, as prophets, tampering with forbidden lore, gazed into cloudy crystals, into all that was elvish in Orion's blood, to all that he had of magic from his mother. The little lights of the twilight-builded boundary lured and tempted and beckoned. He thought of his mother, dwelling in lonely ease beyond the rage of time. He thought of the glories of Elfland, dimly known by magical memories that he had from his mother. The little cries of the earthly evening behind him he heeded no more, nor heard, and with all these little cries were lost to him, also the ways and the needs of men, the things they plan, the things they toil for and hope for, and all the little things their patience achieves, and the new knowledge that they had come to him, besides this glittering boundary, that he was of magical blood. He desired at once to cast off his allegiance to time, and to leave the lands that lay under time's dominion, and were ever scourged by his tyranny, to leave them with no more than 5 short paces, and to enter the ageless land where his mother sat with her father, while he reigned on his misty throne, in that hall of bewildering beauty at which only song has guessed. Yes, gambling. You should have been earning a good amount of gambling, honestly. If you do exclamation point seaweed, that'll tell you how much you've earned. No more was Earl his home. No more were the ways of man his ways, their fields to his feet no more. But the peaks of the elfin mountains were to him now what welcoming eaves of straw are to earthly laborers at evening. The fabulous, the unearthly, were to Orion home. Thus had that barrier of twilight, too long seen, enchanted him. So much more magical was it than any earthly evening. Hello, Hiroshi. Hello, good evening. What you at? 350. Yeah, 350. Oh, hi from Russia. Wow, hello. Hello, hi there. That's such a fun place. Like a faraway place to have a viewer from. That's so cool. Hello. And there are those that might have gazed long at it, and even yet turned away, but not easily Orion, for though magic has power to charm worldly things, they respond to enchantment heavily and slowly, while all that was magic in Orion's blood flashed answer to the magic that shone in the rampart of Elfland. It was made of the rarest lights that wander in air, and the fairest flashes of sunlight that astonish our fields through storm, and the mists of little streams, and the glow of flowers and moonlight, and all the ends of our rainbows, with their beauty and magic, and scraps of the gloaming of evenings long treasured in aged minds. Yes. Yes, Hiroshi. Hello. Yes. I love. Yes. That's fun, that's cute. Into this enchantment he stepped to have done with mundane things, but at his foot touched the twilight. A hound that had sat behind him under the hedge, held back from the chase so long, stretched its body a little, and uttered one of those low cries of impatience that amongst the ways of man most nearly resembles a yawn. And old habit, at that sound, made Orion turn his head, and he saw the hound, and went up to him for a moment, and he patted him and would have said farewell, but all the hounds were around him then, nosing his hands and looking up at his face, and standing there amongst his eager hounds, Orion, who but a moment before was dreaming of fabulous things with thoughts that floated over the magical lands and scaled and enchanted peaks of the Elfin Mountains, was suddenly at the call of his earthly lineage. It was not that he cared more to hunt than to be with his mother beyond the fret of time, in the lands of her father, lovelier than anything song hath said. It was not that he loved his hounds so much that he could not leave them, but his fathers had followed the chase age after age, as his mother's line had timelessly followed magic, and the call towards magic was strong while he looked on magical things, and the old earthly line was as strong to beckon him to the chase. The cheese you heard. I don't know. I doth not knoweth. The beautiful boundary of twilight had drawn his desires towards Elfland. Next moment, his hounds had turned him another way. It is hard for any of us to avoid the grip of external things. Here, guys, let me give you a raffle real quick. There you go. Good luck. For some moments, Orion stood thinking among his hounds, trying to decide which way to turn, trying to weigh the easy, lazy ages that hung over untroubled lawns, and the listless glories of Elfland, with the good brown plough, and the pasture, and the little hedges of earth. But the hounds were around him, nosing, crying, looking into his eyes, speaking to him. If tails and paws and large brown eyes, me, can speak, saying, away, away. To think amongst all that tumult was impossible. He could not decide, and the hounds had it their way, and he and they went together home over the over the fields we know. Hello, booty-eating Banto. Thanks for the follow. Oh, gosh. Oh, okie dokie. Oh my god, I see what you're saying. You know, I don't know. I doth not know if she knows that we look the same. I don't know. Yeah, it's a baby. I love her, the girl. Hello. Yeah, I'm actually ending stream right now. That was the end of my chapter. I said I was going to be done after that chapter. It is done. Stream is done. Oh, hi Lancel. Thank you so much for the follow. Oh, stretches. Cherry, if you go live right now, I don't know if you're live yet, but I'll raid you. I gotta check. Are you live? If you are, I'll raid you. Go live. Go live right now. Go live. Hit the live button. And I shall read you. Okay? Stop talking and do it. Okay. You get 10 seconds. We're gonna do another raffle. I don't know, you get however long the raffles, I don't know. They're bad at fishing. I'm low-key, that's funny as heck. Oh, apocalyptic. So I haven't been able to raid Cherry yet. I do want to, but apocalyptic, will you tell me who it is? And I will write it down so that next time I will go ahead and have that fixed and ready to go. If you will please put the name in chat, I will save that and I will do Poxia. Perfect. Poxia. Okay. I'm going to write that down and send that to myself on Discord right now so that I know to raid her next time. Raid Poxia next time you can. Okay, perfecto. It is written down. Hi Coptis, welcome in. Lots of gambling, lots of gambling. Okay everybody, it is a bedtime, it's bedtime, it's bedtime, it's bedtime. We have 37 pages to go. That might be 2 more streams. So that's just next week. And then after that, we'll be able to go back to some Sherlock Holmes. If you're saying we, it's nos hablos español. Thank you very much, sir. Okay. Alright, gang. It is raid time. Oh, of course. Thank you everybody for being here. Very, very, very lovely. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Yeah, what am I saying? It is over. You only understood Spain. I said Espanol. But that's okay. Another one? Oh, whoa. Apocalyptic. Oh, those are her emotes. Oh, sweet. I know, I'm so sorry. She's alive right now. Frick. If it weren't for Cherry, I would have, I promise. She's cute from what I see. She's cute as heck. Oh wait, let me go. No, I mean, yeah, I can go. I don't know, do I follow her? Or do I wait until I raid her to follow her? Ah. I am speaking Japanese. Yes. Thank you, Coptis. Good night. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Okay, everybody, this is our raid message. If you would like. Pox is good? Okay, that's good to know. Perfect, that's good. Yeah, you gotta wait so I can be like, hey, yo, I didn't know you. This is cool. Perfect. Yes, they're cute. They're all emote lab. Oh, except the wink one and the head pats and the arm jiggles. Those are custom. Those are cute. Okay, everybody, we ready? We're gonna go raid Cherry. She takes a few minutes before her thing starts, so I wanted her to go ahead and be on by the time we raid her, not just in her starting soon screen. But I think she might still be in the starting soon. She is. She's in line for 3 minutes. Okay, hopefully she'll go and talk soon, and then it'll be perfect, and then we can raid it. The art of overthinking. No, for real. Oh, crazy. Hi, Suspicious. What's up? Cherry. I know. You're supposed to hit them when you start. SMH my head, Cherry. I want to send them in and it be a model, you know? Because I wonder, I don't know how many people might leave. Take your time, Cherry. It's okay, take your time. I'm trying to think of like viewer engagement. I wonder how often people would sit and wait on a starting soon screen versus having a streamer straight away to actually start watching and listening to. But I mean, then again, if you have an ad going on, then they can't instantly have a streamer, right? So you're fine. I've got your stream pulled up, so whenever you finally pop in, I'll send them in your way. Yes, precious, it's done. I'm so sorry. We are finished for the night. This is like a 3-hour stream. Yeah, 3 hours. It's pretty good for me for ASMR. Yes, Hiroshi. Yes, I am a streamer. That is me. Streamer, sailor, streamer. It's okay. I have the raid message pulled up, so you know what? I can just copy it. It's okay. Fine. Okay. Ka-chow. That is the raid message. I'm waiting for Jay. Okay, the ad break is finished. She's ready. Go. Okay, let's do it. Once again, this is the raid message. Ka-chow. I am ready. Hey, John. Welcome back. Welcome back, Tom. When's the 24-hour stream? I did an 11-hour stream the other day. I guess I could do 24 hours. You just would have to give me a lot of time to prepare for that. That would be like a mental thing. I have to like build up the preparation for it. But okay, anyways. I don't think I can rate myself. Oh, you know, I'll read again next Monday, okay? Okay. Alright, everybody, we're going in Rain Cherry. Goodbye, good night. Have a lovely, fantastic night. Thank you everybody for being here. Good night, bye-bye.